Hey y'all, it's Brian. I don't know what exactly was going on. We had some connectivity issues as we were recording, so I think that might be playing into it here. But for whatever reason, when I got the audio files, there's just like out of sync in a couple of places that don't make sense, and that definitely was not there when Benedikt and I were recording. So I tried to line it up as best as I could. But you're definitely going to notice a couple of abnormal lulls and like some awkward silences that feel a little weird. But anyway, go ahead and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build products and recover from burnout. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we figure things out. Today is January 19th, and I am feeling energized but nervous.
This is episode number 74, and I'm feeling cold. Like my fingers are frozen. I don't know what's going on.
You have enough iron in your diet?
I don't know.
Maybe you just need
maybe not.
Gloves.
Maybe I need gloves in the home office for some reason.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Heating is up and everything, so I don't know. It's just my body's weird, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's been cold around here for a good little while too. We haven't had very much snow, but it's just like cold. I was working outside this weekend. It's like freezing, but anyway.
Yeah. It's pretty cold around here as well, and but we had really nice snow for a change. Like usually when it snows around here, it's like it either doesn't stay, or when it stays, it just gets super wet and smushy and ugly. But on Sunday night, we had like really nice powdery snow.
Yes.
So when we got up, we had breakfast and basically just went outside for a walk and enjoyed like the crunch while walking, and that was really nice. So
I love that
for a change.
I love that so much.
And also, best investment ever. We a couple of years ago we bought a shovel for the snow. We just put it outside in front of our house, and apparently the neighbors don't have shovels, so they take ours. But they're nice enough to also shovel in front of our home. So
that's pretty brilliant, man. That's a really great idea. Hey, this is available for everyone to use. All you have to do is shovel our sidewalk as well.
Yes, exactly. That's pretty good. I'm grateful for that.
What's funny about that is one of our neighbors has a like an electric snowblower because they have a really long driveway. And so, the people that we bought this house from were, they were they weren't like elderly, but they were an older couple, And so, when we first moved into this house, the first several times that it snowed, I would go outside and our driveway was also, cleared like with a nice big electric snowblower. Then I think the neighbor eventually, saw us enough times and was like, "Oh, they're a young couple. They can handle it." And now they don't do our driveway anymore. So okay, cool, buddy, cool. It's happened a few times, but not often. Yeah.
I guess that's fair enough.
No, yeah, for sure. Actually, of course, I'm just riding that train. Actually,
I actually enjoy shoveling snow at least a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you get tired by it if you do it every day, but I don't mind doing it from time to time. It's kind of a relaxing activity in a way.
Yeah. That's cool. I wish I felt that way. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll try to channel a little Benedikt energy the next time I'm out there, even snow off the driveway.
Yeah, that's probably just me not having having to shovel snow maybe once or twice a year. So I'm sure I'd think differently about this if it was like every day and maybe every day, a couple of times every day. So all good. What's new with you other than no snow, I guess?
So the reason I'm feeling energized but nervous is that, I mean, the game is pretty much ready on Tabletopia for me to share. So I'm a little nervous about that. Um, but what it does need is like a video walkthrough. Um, and just to kind of explain, like, it's almost as much a tutorial of Tabletopia as it is, the rules of the game. I mean, it's both, obviously, but you know, Tabletopia, if you know just a couple of keyboard shortcuts, it's way easier to work with. Otherwise, there are some things about it that can get a little bit, frustrating. And so, I don't think that I'll have it ready, quite ready to put into the show notes, but I will take the time to log into Twitter, and post those updates when they're ready. So yeah, I spent some time last week working on graphics for all the cards, and Graham, who's my buddy that's co-designing this with me, we added some new cards, some new terrain tiles, and things like that. So I had to pop in there and create new graphics for those. Created a basically a big game board to make organizing all the pieces and components, again, like, easier to use. User experience, parallel to software here. So I'm looking forward to sharing that, and hearing what people think. So
Very cool.
yeah, and the,
How
yeah,
does
the
table?
other go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah. How does the Tabletopia work in that regard? Is it basically you define cars and you can move them around, or do you even encode some of the rules in there as well?
Tabletopia, you cannot encode any rules. It's basically just a physics environment where you and I can log in and move cards around, just as if we were sitting down at a table with those same cards. You have to know what is a rule and what is not, you know. Um, in order for it to
That's cool.
work. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I mean, that
it
that
but it does.
that makes it super flexible, right?
Yes, yeah, and it offers some handy little things, like you can, right click to draw 5 cards rather than have to click, draw, click, draw, click, draw. I and on the developer side, I can configure the board so that, if a player puts a card in this area, then automatically flip it over for them. Or, you know what I mean? So you don't have to, go through all of those sorts of things. So, and those will be some of the things that I talk through on the video. Um, I worked on our documentation, or the rule book, um, other parallel to to software. Trying to have good docs, so worked on that a little bit. I'm not going to worry about formatting it and making that look, like, designed or pretty or anything at this point. It's just going to be a Google Doc, for reference.
Sure.
Even though the designer in me is wanting to pull it into InDesign and use the typefaces that are on the cards and things. I'm gonna resist that urge, but yeah, it feels really, really exciting. So Graham and I are gonna do a couple of. We've got some time blocked out in our day tomorrow to do a couple more playthroughs ourselves and start sharing it around and getting some feedback on what works and what doesn't. So it's pretty exciting. Hopefully it's, at least has a promise of fun. We fully expect it to just completely, break. 50% of the time that somebody plays it, like, oh yeah, that mechanic just completely breaks down when you have, this particular card or whatever. But, we'll see. It's so much fun. It is so much fun, man. Designing it, I mean. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Sounds like you're having a lot of fun, so that's good.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I truly do. I just feel like I am in such a better headspace these days. The other new thing for me is I rejoined a gym last week. Boulder County's numbers they've gone down a good bit. Still, we all need to be taking things very, very seriously, but down to the point where this gym controls their numbers. You have to wear a mask 100% of the time that you're inside. There's plenty of room, cleaning stations all over the place. So I scoped it out. It feels super safe. And so yeah, just been getting back into the gym on a very regular basis. Having some good client work that's challenging and novel, and having this side project that's given me a ton of life. Dude, I feel like a totally different person right now compared to compared to many points of last year. So
That's so good to hear. I'm happy for you. I mean, it sounds like things are moving in the right direction, so
yeah, yeah,
that's really
totally,
nice.
totally moving in the right direction.
By the way,
um
we got your Christmas holiday card
I was wondering
yesterday.
about that. Okay, yeah. Laura Laura was asking, "Hey, did Benedikt get our card?" And I was like, "Hey, I'm not sure." She's like, "I mean, I don't know. I just threw a bunch of stamps on it and assume that it'll eventually get there." So, yeah, let's see. You got it yesterday, January 18th?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. I don't
cool.
know when you
We'll
sent
be
it, but it probably took quite a while.
about a month ago. Yeah. Next year, we'll be sure to send your card, the day after Thanksgiving, and, maybe maybe
Don't
it'll be there around Christmas.
don't worry. I mean, it's much appreciated. We don't. I or maybe it's not our family that doesn't do it, but I think it's not a thing in Germany that much. So
Not as big of a
we don't.
cultural deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do this. But I kind of
Mhm.
like it, and especially like you put this little list of things that happened in 2020 in there
Mhm.
as well, and that
Yeah.
was a nice touch. Just
Yeah.
to catch up with people or give a short update for what happened this year, especially
Yeah.
as you probably haven't seen a lot of people you usually at least see a couple times a year
Right.
and catch up with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's maybe I
Yeah.
should just start doing it. But honestly, I also forget about it because it's not ingrained
Well,
in the
I mean, it
tradition.
would, if it were up to me, if it were left to me, it wouldn't happen. I love it. I like getting Christmas cards. I like, that that Laura organizes it and sends ours out because I do think it's kind of a cool thing from year to year. But does Darmstadt have like a big Christmas market with like around Christmas time that's typically opened?
Yeah, it usually does. Not this year.
No?
Um,
Okay.
so kind of a bummer, but honestly, like I'm not like the one in Darmstadt. I'm not a big fan of, honestly, because it's mostly the same booths as every year, and it's
Gotcha.
most of it is uh, food and booze. So it feels like you go one year and enjoy it, and then the second year it's like after that
Okay.
it's the same procedure as every year. But
Is it
like
down in that
in the particular,
I was gonna ask, is it down in that pedestrian area where your office was for a time? Like,
yeah, it's nearby. There's a
okay.
marketplace where they have like the weekly market and stuff like that, and they do it on there as well.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, we usually go like once or twice during the holiday season or so.
Mhm.
But like in the particular suburb that I'm living in, there's a super small Christmas market, and we enjoy that quite a bit. Like it's super cozy. It's
Okay.
maybe like
Yeah. Yes.
5 booths or so, and always
Right.
there's a barbecue booth, and
Uh-huh.
they always have like just like one thing on the menu, and it changes year after year, and it's always nice and delicious.
Smaller, but has that charming,
yeah,
you
yeah, it has like
German
more character
Christmas
to it.
shop
So.
vibe. Yeah, is like what I've got in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so that's nice, but like both didn't happen this year for obvious reasons. So
obvious. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Gotcha. Well, let's see. That's pretty much it for. Actually, no. Final thing for me, and then I'm curious to hear what's going on with you. Is we sold our pop up this weekend, and
ooh,
so that's so that's cash that will be going towards purchasing our our new rig. Um, but we are fully committed because the Ray family does not have a way to camp this summer. And as you know, that's a
that's a
non-negotiable.
problem.
Yeah. So we are that felt like, oh, hello. Okay, we are that's another step of being fully in here. So that was a big development, like a very large checkbox to get checked off. So next thing is lining up renters for the house and getting the financing completely locked down for buying the truck and fifth wheel. And yeah, wheels are in motion, gears are moving.
What's the order of operations for this? Like, are you getting tenants for the house before buying the
Those are
camper,
moving in
or the other
parallel.
way around?
Those are
Okay.
those are totally parallel. Laura is is getting our like photos lined up, great description of the property, et cetera, et cetera. Lease agreements, what are all the things that you need to know? So she's like making that her top priority, and my priority is talking to lenders, providing documents and things like that to try to get financing lined up. Which, being self-employed in the time of
Yeah.
a pandemic, is not at all straightforward. So, which is, it's just a really frustrating thing of being self-employed, to be like, look, here's 3 years of
Yeah.
tax returns where I steadily make this much money. And if I were employed by somebody who could fire me tomorrow, then you would do the deal in a heartbeat. But
Yeah, that's
because
the
I'm
part that I don't
self-employed
get. But
and
yeah,
master of my own universe to a degree, then I'm suddenly a risk. Like, whatever. That's really
yeah,
frustrating. But
doesn't make any sense.
yeah, every single person listening right now who is nodding their head, thank you, because we all deal with trying to explain to lenders why we're actually a safer bet because we control our situation.
Yeah,
Okay, that's it
yeah.
for me, man. What's up with you? How you been?
Yeah, last week has been rough, to be honest.
Hmm,
Especially mentally. It was like work-wise, it wasn't that bad, but
okay.
mentally was a struggle for me. Um, I mean, we had some performance issues the week before, and that kind of carried over in a way. So I was still
Okay.
fixing stuff last week, and then it was one of those weeks, and I think it might have even been like within a day or so, where suddenly the support inbox blows up, and a bunch of people report problems they're having, have sent over feature
Mhm,
requests, and it's not like he broke anything and this like all boiled down to one issue. It was like
mhm,
suddenly 5 people cared about 5 totally different things.
okay.
It decided to write in about it, and
So totally
um,
coincidental, right? That's what
yeah,
you're saying. Just a total coincidence. Okay, but it just all hit at the same time. When it rains, it pours.
yeah, it's just, and it's super like I'm not sure why that is. Like this happens from time to time. Like usually our support load is super minimal. Like if we get like, I don't know, 5 support requests per week, then that I'd consider that a standard week. But from time to time, those just clump together into like everyone at the same time writing in, asking about something, requesting something. And the problem is one of those were our second biggest customer. They ran into some problems. And they were also that's also the customer who had to cause the issue like the week before. So I was already like on the heels and trying to make them happy and fixing their issues and stuff like that. But then it was also close friends or other valuable customers that might not be paying a lot, but are nice people, either friends or influencers or whatever. So you kind of feel the urge to take good care of them and basically have a good answer to all of their requests. And it was a combination of just like performance issues, bugs, and feature requests. And problem is like reasonable feature requests, like things where I'm like, yes, I totally agree. We should totally do this. So, and it's hard to say no to those. So I'm being kind of vague, and then realizing that with the decision to go after like marketing and open user list up for marketing and all the things that we have to do there in terms of product work, as well as all the things that need to be done to get the company's feature wrapped up. I was so overwhelmed with just like the sheer amount of to-dos on my plate that I had a couple of rough days where I was like constantly stressed out and yelling at my computer for no reason.
It's been there.
I felt like a little bit like a mental breakdown. I mean, not that bad. That I couldn't work at all, but I didn't get any feature work done. I just like did fixing little things here and there, putting out fires where possible, as fast as possible. And then, as I said, like just getting overwhelmed by like the amount of work in front of me. And added to that, it also feels like the entire business kind of hinges on my ability to just like put those new features out as well as keep existing customers happy. And once you start thinking like that, it's just like drives me crazy. And it got better after on Friday. I just went into Slack and basically put all of these things into words. And Jane was like, "Yeah, I imagine that it's hard, and I feel bad for you, but don't worry. Like if a customer churns, that's it. They churn. I mean, don't get too stressed up about it. And probably the new features are probably more important than making everyone super happy right now, because if the plan works out, even if they churn, we will make up the revenue that we lose by just like attracting more people, and that should ultimately be the goal. And it's one of those things that, I mean, rationally I know about. It totally makes sense. Like, but having someone else, and especially Jane, who's like in this with me, and I kind of feel responsible for like, I don't want to let her down in a way. And just hearing it from her, that she's fine with like, if they churn, they churn. It's not a big deal, and we'll figure it out. That removed like half of the pressure already. And then just taking the weekend off. We're always taking the weekends off in a way, but like allowing myself to really enjoy the weekend and not think about anything work related. Did the rest to put me into a way better place. So getting back to work on Monday was so much easier and so much better. And it just I don't know. It's a mental game, I guess. Like more than anything, trying to stay positive and productive and not get stressed out about all the things you should be doing in a way, and just take things one by one, I guess. Yeah, that was my last week.
That definitely sounds like a rough week. But also sounds great. I mean, sounds great that you had that conversation with Jane because, yeah, I mean, rather than, it sounds like on your side, your first assumption was, "Oh my gosh, people are writing in bug requests. It's on me to keep everybody happy." And it's good that you feel this sense of responsibility towards your business partner. That's a good thing, that helps people to, strive toward their best. Um, but, not if you're also pulling in all of these additional assumptions of, "I have to make sure that everything is always perfect, otherwise Jane's gonna be disappointed or let down," you know?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
your friend who's a customer is gonna be let down, and giving yourself a little bit of permission to realize that that's not always true,
yeah. And
you know?
even if one of the customers leaves, then it's bad. But I mean, it's not like we can't make up for it. I mean,
Right.
in the end, the
Yeah.
goal is to attract more customers, and if one leaves,
Mhm.
then we should be able to get another one at some point. It's
Right.
unlikely
Yeah.
that the business will just implode by
Mhm.
just because of one issue. But yeah,
Yeah.
it took me a bit to to work through
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause
think I
it's
managed.
totally a mental game. 'Cause yes, somebody churns, that is not ideal. Um, but, I mean, you shared from your year compass, New Year's activity, like, your word for the year is sustainable, and so, it's not sustainable to try to fix every single bug and keep every single customer. You'll
Yeah, um,
yeah, you'll run
I mean, it
yourself.
should be. It should be. We should do a decent enough job to at least try to. But like, if it just like
Yes, of course.
if the resources aren't there, then the resources aren't there, and then that's how it is.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
maybe fixing the problem by having a problematic, like in quotes, customer churn, and just get all of their data and problems and whatever out of the system might be a solution. Yeah, it's revenue wise, it's not the wisest one, but you can get rid of a lot of problems using that method.
Yeah. What,
Yeah, but
what else you got?
um, related to that, like we talked a little bit about the performance problems and the counter problems, and that
Yes.
sparked
Yep.
a nice
Counter
conversation
casting
in
stuff.
Mega Maker last week, which I really appreciate. A bunch of people chimed
Mhm,
in um,
mhm.
with suggestions and ideas on what we could do to fix it. Someone mentioned that I'm a Redis hater. It was kind of in
That
jest,
you,
so
Benedikt, are hate Redis?
yes, yeah, that I hate Redis, which I want to make clear is not the case. uh, I, I love Redis. So I think I said that I don't want to start accounts in Redis, which is the only reason why I don't want to do this is not because I don't like Redis, but because I want to keep as much as possible in the primary database. But yeah, just wanted to say it. I love Redis. Anyways, um,
Going on the record.
everyone who
Okay,
chimed
great.
in, everyone who chimed in on this, much appreciated. Gave me a lot of things to think about and a lot of possible solutions to consider.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
yeah, still haven't decided on one. And to be honest, probably will take a little bit to get to it and actually implement this, because there's, as I said, so many other things going on that are probably a little bit more important than this
Yeah,
particular one. Because now with the counter cache gone, it's not great, but it's kind of working. Its user interface is a little bit slow, but yeah, I mean, doesn't warrant the time and energy to improve this right now. So
yeah,
that's been going on.
yeah.
One thing
Mega yeah, I was
that
gonna say real quick, Mega Maker is the freaking greatest. I've stepped back these past couple of months since I've pretty much logged off of everything.
yeah
Um, but if you're listening, like, if you're a creator and a maker and you don't have a mastermind group or, like, a handful of people that you bounce ideas off of, like, you should join Mega Maker. It's so good for this. Yeah. Okay.
yeah yeah
What were you about to
um,
say?
Totally. Um, yeah, what else was I about to say? Oh yeah, one thing that helped me to fix my mental problem in a way by just like enjoying the weekend was um, the America's Cup is on again this year. I don't know. Are you into sailing
Okay,
at all?
I was gonna say, I feel really, really unsophisticated. America's Cup is the one with the boats. Is that right?
Yes, it's the one with the boat. Yeah. Um, and this is like I'm totally off topic at this point, but
No,
I'm
it's
just
awesome.
super
It's great.
excited about it
Are
because it
you a
only happens
sailor?
every.
Do you sail?
I, I'm not a sailor.
Okay.
I wish I was a sailor in a way. I had some sailing lessons when I was a kid. Like it might be 30 years ago, maybe not a long time ago.
Not too
I had
long.
some
Not too
sailing
long.
lessons.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and I actually went sailing for a week in the Mediterranean with my grandpa back then, around the same time,
That
because he was a
is the
sailor.
most European charming thing I've ever heard.
And that was a great experience, but due to the lack of a large body of water nearby,
Yeah.
I never got into it. Like sailing only works with water, and I guess.
Yeah.
And
Landlocked, isn't it?
yeah, I'm not that excited about it to like plan all my vacations around sailing and taking sailing courses and lessons and whatever. So I'm not a sailor, but sailing still excites
But
me, and especially
yeah.
the America's Cup is pretty great. Like it only happens every couple of years,
Okay.
and what they like, it blows my mind what they do like technology wise.
Hmm.
In the last couple of times they put it on, I think I started getting into it 15 years ago or something like that, when one team back then decided, who needs sails? We'll just put a wing on the boat. um,
Eh,
and
Did it
were you
work?
about to say something? Yes,
Wait,
it
I mean, I'm
worked. They
just
won.
surprised. Yeah. Like, so now does every single sailboat use wings instead?
Um, so there was a development. So they won the thing. I think 4 editions ago. It was the American Team Oracle. They just decided to basically, as I said, put a wing on it, the size of the wing of a A380 or something like that, and they won it back
Okay.
then. And I think then the following 2 editions they used wings instead of sails, which is it's still insane thinking about it. But in the last couple editions, they discovered that instead of like just putting the wings on, like instead of a sail, they're using the wings in the water as foils, and they're basically, the boat isn't in the water anymore. Like it's just
Just like, what is it? Just like hovering
it's just
above, so there's
flying.
less friction on the surface of the water?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like the current edition is like they don't have a wing anymore. It's a sail again. It still looks wing
Okay.
like, but I have these foils on both sides of the boat that they can lower and raise from the water. And when they go full speed, it's basically just this wing in the water, and none of the boat is touching it. And I think they were like 1.5 to 2 meters above the water with the entire boat, and go like speeds of like 40 knots, which is like 75 kilometers per hour
Oh
and 46
my
miles or
word.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. 50
And
miles
it's
an hour.
just insane. It's fucking insane. And I
Well, did
really
they
enjoy
win
watching.
again?
Well, right now there's the Challenger series. So the America's Cup is always battled between the current what's it called? The winner of the last edition, basically
Defending champion kind of thing.
the current champion. And then there's a challenger, and they race against each other over a couple of races. Usually, I think it's over 2 weeks or so. And right now, it's the challenger series where they basically decide who's allowed to race the champion. So that's three teams right now, and they're trying to figure out who's the one who's allowed to race the champion for the trophy.
Are they sailing simultaneously? Like you're on the same track sailing simultaneously, or is it here's the course, you have to run it, and we measure your time? How's it work?
They race simultaneously. The course is relatively boring, to be honest. It's like basically they have a starting and finish line and an upper mark, and then they basically go like 6 legs between those. And it's an upwind, downwind course. So they upwind, like I think they start upwind. So it's crossing to the upper mark, then rounding the upper mark, going down and back and forth a couple times. But it's 2 boats at the same time. And it's crazy.
I have a feeling I'm going to go down a YouTube rabbit trail on this. Here's the main thing I don't understand about sailing is that I don't understand how you can go in the opposite direction of where you were just going because of, I mean, wherever the wind is, whatever direction the wind is blowing, that's where you're going. I just don't understand how sailing works outside of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, then you're in for a treat.
Okay.
Because
right,
they are
in
also,
for a treat. Okay.
What's YouTube, also crazy is they do
explain like I'm 5 sailing.
Explain the crazy America's Cup boats, because like they're doing 40 knots at 12 knots wind speed. That's even the part, like that math doesn't work in my head. Like they go faster than the wind.
That also makes no sense to me. That's incredible. All right.
So yeah, I mean,
it'll be in the show. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole on behalf of the listeners, and I'm gonna put things into the show notes that a complete noob
totally
to how sailing works.
Totally helpful. It's totally fascinating. It's just like it's mind blowing. There's so many aspects. I could go on. Like we could do an entire episode about just me
about the
geeking out about how crazy all of this. Anyways, I enjoyed it very much, and
you sound enthusiastic, and you've been smiling the entire time talking about it. So that's a very productive use of time, for sure.
Yes, it is. It is. And also one last thing. It's in New Zealand, so unfortunately I can't watch it live because it's in the middle of the night. But all of the live streams are free on YouTube, so you can just like watch the entire thing for free and get excited by it.
Yes.
Anyways, that was my weekend.
How do we bring this back?
I guess like why I put this in here in the middle of everything is it was basically divided between last week and this week. And
now,
last week was kind of miserable. The weekend was really exciting and fun, and I enjoyed it. For one, like watching the sailing, going out for a walk in the snow, and also been watching way too much sports. Just like watching the NFL playoffs. You can see I did a lot of nothing. So I had a great weekend, and this week was like so much more productive than the last week. Was able to almost finish our user list Ruby gems with all the new company tracking features as well as some cleanup. And I want to give a shout out to Michael Coper of Nusi. I think we've mentioned him a couple of times.
Yes, we have.
He was kind enough to agree to basically give it a try, like the pre-release version, install it inside his application, and he actually discovered a couple of problems that I was able to fix, because I've been testing this with userlist, like integrating userlist into userlist, which kind of worked, but it's so hard to like anticipate all the things other people are doing inside the applications. So it was really appreciated that I had like one more candidate that was willing to give this a try. And I think we
Yeah, for
ironed,
sure.
ironed out most of the things by now, but who knows? We'll see. That being said, if you're a listener and a userless customer, as well as on Ruby or Rails, let me know. I'd be happy to give you access to this. Well, for one, give you access to this feature and let you test the Ruby gem, because
Check out the gem.
I think
Yeah.
it turned out really great. It does like most of the things just like automatically. It detects like your user model, your company / accounts model, as well as all relationships between them, and syncs them to user list. So pretty proud of what we built there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess that's the most important stuff that happened this week. One thing that we're planning or dealing with this week and maybe next week is one of our competitors is shutting down. Mixpanel is shutting down their messages component, which is kind of funny because most people didn't even know it existed. But with right now, like we just learned about this last week. I'm not entirely sure how official they made it yet, but it's on their support forums that the feature isn't available for new customers anymore, and I think they will shut it down by the end of the year. And now it's like we are sitting there thinking like, how can we make use of this? Like, what can we do
leverage
to
that? Yeah.
to leverage that and how to get in front of those customers. So we started by doing like a new alternative to page. So hopefully Google will pick it up soon as alternative to Mixpanel messages. But I have a feeling that we should probably do more, like maybe have a dedicated landing page that just like hammers down this thing is shutting down, and we know that you're looking for an alternative, and this is why user list is the thing to use, and maybe even explain what code snippets to replace or whatever. I don't know. Like, I haven't fully thought it through, but it's an exciting opportunity.
Did the mix panel support forum? I mean, the comments and things from upset customers. Is there some good market research in there, or has it mostly just been like no? Like, have you been able to pull out some gems?
There's not that much activity on that thread. It's basically one customer asking why it's not available. Like, why is the menu item gone? And they were like, sorry, we fixed it for you. Because it was an existing customer apparently. And then there was like, side note, we're also shutting this down soon. So it's like, I'm not entirely sure, as I said, like how official this is, but at least they're not adding new features to it anymore. So yeah, that's one of the exciting things that's happening. And the last thing I want to mention for today, in relation to last week's episode, where talked about the tiny seed salary cap for like 15 minutes or so, and how we managed to pay us the salary cap every year and still not break the bank business wise. Literally 2 hours after we finished recording, I was on a call with the Tiny Seed cohort, and Rob casually mentioned that they are basically removing the salary cap, or actually lifting the salary cap to 250K. So
nice.
I was hearing
for both 250K US combined across all founders.
Yeah, across all founders.
Per founder. Okay.
Yeah. Which, like, I wish we could pay us that much. We totally cannot. But it's a really nice move, because it removes, I think it removes the one downside that taking on this investment had for us. It was always like,
Yeah.
we can pay our salaries, but we cannot pay us as much as we earned when we were freelancing. And with this, it's way more than we did. Then we were able to make while freelancing. So that's kind of nice. And I also, as I said, like removed it for like retroactively. So batch 1 and 2 are, even though it's still in our papers, we will be able to sign something soon. I guess. And be allowed to just.
That's a very founder-friendly move.
It is like 250K a year is a very good salary, at least in my books.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, by a fair amount. Yeah. That's cool.
And that being said, Tiny Seed applications are open for. I think they're open for another week or so, maybe a little bit less than that. So if you're thinking about applying, I'd recommend you do, because like the application process is super easy. You just ask a bunch of questions, and even if you don't have the answers to all those questions right away, it's worth spending a couple of minutes thinking about those questions and finding answers. Even if you don't end up submitting the application, it's useful to answer these questions.
It's a good exercise.
It's a good exercise, but I encourage you to just click the submit button, because it's not a lot of work, and getting like the time investment or the overall effort from application to getting an offer is super minimal. There's a little bit more work after that, like for the due diligence and stuff like that, but you've got nothing to lose. Basically, that's what a lot of words for saying you've nothing to lose there. It's worth giving it a try. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer them.
Cool. Applications close ends on January 24th. So you're listening to this. This will have released on Wednesday, and so applications are going to close this very upcoming Sunday. So if you're listening to this and you haven't applied and you intend to, it's time to get on it.
Yes, exactly. That was a lot of weird stuff in one episode.
Covered really covering the gamut here lately. I'm liking it. It's really fun. All right. I don't have anything else, so we can wrap this one up. Great catching up, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. Maybe we should just do an episode about sailing one time.
Yes. Sure. Let's do it. All right. Talk next week.
Okay. Bye.